Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining. This is Livestream Feedback 17. And we're getting down. Submit your track. If you want work in progress tracks, no remixes, upload them to the Discord, Livestream Feedback channel, and I will give you feedback right now. We have a couple submissions going on. We're going to go over loudness levels, the mix, how dope it is, the energy, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let's see if we can find some bangers. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the Discord to be with the Dripment community. First submission is by BOS and Psychedelics. Coming down. Let's get it. Hi, everybody. Wow. Let's go. Cool. Vocals are so nice. Hey, what a beautiful way to start off the stream. Oh my gosh. Good job. That was BOS Psychedelics coming in with an amazing banger. there isn't much that needs to be, fixed. Really, the only thing that I found issues with were some mixing things that we'll go over. But gosh, this composition is great. The vocals really are the star of the show of this whole song, and they're so clean. They sound good. You can tell you know your music theory because they sound really good with the chords and the build-up and the energy is all good. Song arrangement on point. The super saws in the drop, though, they're very wide, and it doesn't seem like there's much mono signal, much mono information. It seems very empty in the middle, but very like filled in the left and the right side, right? So you basically want to make sure that both sections are filled, because when you're listening to it, the sub is completely overpowering the mono section, and it's really just like a sub and like wide super saws. So I'd really mix it to make those super saws brighter, put some more mono information there, and really make those the star of the show and let the sub support it rather than be like the main star, because this is a future bass song, It's not technically like super heavy bass music, so the sub doesn't need to be like that prominent. But still, that sub is fat and dirty, and I like it. I also like in the middle of the drop, you switch it up and change the chord progression, and it just feels really good. And then, of course, you do a middle build, and you build up to like a tear out. This is cool, really cool. Energy's high. The guns, though, are not bright. They're pretty lost in the mix. So I'd make those machine guns a little bit brighter in the mix so that they can stand out. And also in the build-up, kind of tease the basses too, just so that everyone knows crazy tear-out's coming. Otherwise, man, this is really dope. You guys are doing good. I'm happy to hear something, well-versed. Just even after this tear-out, the way the tear-out section transitions to like the melodic section, you can tell like that's just good flow all throughout the track. I'm happy to hear it. Also, loudness levels are great dynamics, as you guys saw. Width and loudness levels were there, so that's what I'm talking about. Good job, BOS and psychedelics. Now, up next we got that tear out ID, work in progress. This is from Scarpy. Scarpy with that tear out ID work in progress clip. Check out the cover art. Let's get it. Damn. That shit's clean. Your mix is really clean, man. Usually when you're using a lot of loud, distorted, crazy tear out sounds, it's really easy for things to get muddy and messy and not sound clean. And I'm really impressed with how clean your guns sound and how separated everything sounds in the mix. It's really important that you guys can do this, because when you make something clean and loud like that, -4 lufs, and it doesn't sound ear piercing, it works really well. That's what people are looking for. Because basically you can make anything, and when the mix sounds this good, it's dope. So I think that This switch up here is amazing. I also think it could use some sustains maybe in some sections just to keep the rhythm moving and add some more energy too. I think that'd be dope. Otherwise, I'm happy to hear these guns. Weird little glitchy atmospheres in the back, which is cool. And as you guys see here, the use of dynamics is making this sound clean too. We're going from loud to soft, loud to soft. That's really nice. Yeah, man, you should just finish this. Definitely add vocals, like in the beginning and stuff, and add some character. Bring that into a full composition. I'm sure you can do it quickly. But yeah, just have fun with it, because this is dope, man. I'm sure the ideas are just flowing out of you. That's Scarpy. Nice job. Up next, we have Hemi Dubs with Trim F78558-3D67A04B. Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Get back to it.
Get back to it.
Dubstep.
Ooh, that's cool.
I'm scared.
Hey, Hemi, I must say, this ain't too shabby. But there's a lot of problems with the mix. I mean, as you can tell, the other songs we just listened to were a lot louder. You can feel a lot more energy on the other songs simply because they're louder, you know? We're always trying to hit like -6, -5, -4, -3 LUFS. And this song, you know, -11 LUFS, it's really low volume. If we were to DJ this next to another song, it would sound significantly lower. So it's important that we use compression and we use saturation to make things clean and loud, get things pumped up. The song arrangement and your idea is sick. Even the fills and from phrase A to phrase B, it works really well. So I think that's cool. Really, you're just having to get your things louder and wider. If you see here when the drop's playing, we can see how everything's in the middle.
Dubstep.
So you really want to get that main lead, that main bass lead, and you want to parallel process it. I made a video about parallel processing. It simply means we'll be able to have a mono signal and a wide signal at the same time. And that's what you want. And when you do that, it'll make your whole bass lead louder at the same time. So that's what we're going for. That's what you need. And then you'll be getting down. Otherwise, finish the song. Keep up with the dope ideas. And send a SoundCloud link next time, not a video. Next, we got J-Wubs and Snasta with Annihilate. Sick. Check out the cover art. Let's go. That was sick. That was awesome. Good job. That was really heavy. That's something that made me want to dance, which is really important. That made me do the stank face, which is really important. Those boxes are checked. I'm happy to say. Loudness levels are good. It's wide enough. This is all really good. This is starting to sound like getting ready for the festival. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is high energy. The sub is really fat, and I think the rhythms are dope. As you can see here, though, when we zoom out, it's really bricked. Where there is too much compression going on, and there are too many mud frequencies building up, like the frequencies from 100 to 400 hertz. You really want to go to each individual track, start making small dips in those, and start basically clearing up space, because it sounds too crowded in the mix, which makes it sound lower quality. And it shouldn't, because this is a really high quality song. This is a dope song. It should sound to its fullest potential. So just look into each of the tracks that are taking up all the information in the 100 to 400 hertz range, and just start making some cleanup. I really like the flow. I really like the sound design. I love the sustains. And phrase B goes up and then down. It's just really cool. So very good job. Good job with the vocals. High energy throughout the song. I think it's really good. I think it's almost perfect. You guys just need to work on the mix a little bit. Like I said, it sounds a little bit too crowded when the drop happens. But other than that, man, that's an easy fix. Cut your lows. Make sure your lows are not stacking on top of each other. We can stack our high frequencies, but when we start to stack the lows, that doesn't work. We start to stack our mids, like our mid lows. That's just not a good time. So you always want to look out for that. Otherwise, fire, banga, sick, man. Give it up, J-Wubs, Nasta, Annihilate. Up next, we got Billy with sick. Oh, whoa. This a movie? Damn, Billy. Wow. Okay. Wasn't expecting all that. But that was sick, man. Jesus. Super cinematic intro that got me feeling like I'm in a horror movie. So that's a box that's checked. Great. When we get to the drop, the flow and the sound design sick, but the mix also sounds a little bit over compressed, a little bit crowded. You definitely want to look into the mud. Like, look, we're zooming out, it's pretty bricked. So you just want to make sure you're not over compressing. You want to make sure that you're not stacking too many frequencies in the 100 to 400 hertz range. Check out all your tracks, make sure that you clean up all that. The energy in the second drop is so much higher than this first drop. I think that you should incorporate some of the faster flow and, other basses that you designed here in your first drop and kind of make both of them sound very similar, because that's awesome, man. That's heavy. You can benefit by, doing high shelves, right? So if you use your EQ and you're boosting high frequencies slightly, we can get some more high frequencies out of those sounds that are living in the high frequency range. I think that'll be really important. There's a lot of basses and mids going on, so we just need to start filling up the high frequency ranges a little bit more so that it can sound balanced and full. Otherwise, this is cool, man. I really like this idea. This little intro thing is a little too long. Maybe chop this like that. But man, cool, Billy. Good job. With the Billy with the Up next, we got Jackson. By the way, this is broken link. Let you know, you can re-upload. Up next, we got Drew with binaural. Man, let's get it. Interesting. All those vocals need to be louder. Hit me in the feels with that one, huh? Gosh, wow, that took me on a journey. And I must say that there's a lot going on in this, multiple drops, so many different new flows and new sounds that I've never heard before. So I applaud you for that. It's really hard to start bringing out all these new crazy wiggly sounds and make it sound good, but you did. And I like that. Unfortunately, there are some timing issues with the drop, which both looks like the only section that didn't really have timing issues is this one. So basically, the timing issues I'm talking about would be like extra delay before the drop. If you listen to the first drop here, like too much, like this is going on for too long. It should have dropped sooner. If we listen and follow the timing, you spin me right round, and then drop. Instead, we kind of go on like an extra 2 bars here. So we want to make sure the drop is changed, fix the timing issues, because when we're expecting the drop to happen at a certain time and it doesn't, that lowers the energy. We aren't able to dance as hard as we're supposed to. Building that tension and releasing it properly is extremely important when it comes to electronic dance music. Also, when we get to like this section of the build-up, it becomes very empty and there's not many sounds going on. So I would add more to make sure that the tension is kept as it's building up. That happens in both build-ups, by the way. And the timing issue happens in the second drop as well. Remember, your 3, your snare is like what you can be going off of. This is going to be the main thing you look at and the main thing you're listening to when you're arranging your drop. Bump, 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 and then you'll be throwing in your drop. So always be working off your snare or your 3. When that bubbly bass is going, you can stop it when the snare comes. So if the bubbly bass stops as soon as the snare hits, it would open up space for this little fill section that leads into this next part. And if you do that, then the bubbly bass will sound like it has dynamics. Right now, it just sounds like it's going too much. When we get to the second part of this drop, it starts to be... We start to open up space, you see? Like there's empty space right here. And you're going back and forth. So you just want to keep doing that, throughout the whole drop. Go back and forth with your frequencies, with the side chain. We're all about doing that so that we can add movement and rhythm and sound clean as well. And dynamics is important, going from loud to soft. Although this is cool, dude. I like this idea. This is what I'm talking about. Just work on some of those things and it's going to sound off the chain. Up next, we have Master Lodian with Triumphant. Check out this cover art. Looking epic as usual. Low for the low. Let's get it. Okay.
Dash in the place, no joke, I'm saying. Don't keep cool, but school man Percy. It can get stormy, it can get murky. Can't let the bad vibes hurt me. Can't let the pagans intercept. Boy, level up, so I hit them reps. Keep on pushing, step correct. Keep that vision, take what's next. Take what's next. Fuck it. switch.
Lodian with triumphant. And I must say, this doesn't sound too triumphant. This I would say needs some work. I think that you going out of your comfort zone and making dubstep was sick, and the drop is dope. During the drop, this section, the basses are sick. The sound design's awesome. The flow's dope, but the basses are not like full enough. You can't really hear them. So I would definitely try to add, like, make a little loud rack and start adding them to the basses, start pumping them up and making them the star of the show, and balance those with the sub during these sections. In, let's see here. During the drop here, this offbeat edition that I have, when you're playing the drop, there's an offbeat. So it goes beat, offbeat. So So on the 2 and the 4, right? So there should be a bass on the 2 and 4 that's like leading us. You know what I mean? Because the rhythm's 140, we want to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So like basically we're doing a beat, downbeat, the 3, and then the 4. So basically there's not really anything on the offbeat. So start adding an extra bass on that, and it'll sound a lot heavier, add a lot more energy. And I think that would be a great addition. Here, where the low, this is sad because there's really no low end throughout this. We have like mids and highs playing, but there's no sub frequencies, no low end to actually have us feeling anything. It's really important that you add low end throughout this whole section. You need to make sure it sounds full in these sections when the guitar is playing. And then the elephant in the room, the guitars. These guitars are very all over the place. There's arps playing with the guitars while there's a guitar riff playing, and they're not flowing together. You may want to start studying how these amazing bands use their guitarists and how each guitar has different frequencies and how they flow them together, because you'll learn so fast from that, and then you'll never have these issues again. Also, when the vocals start playing with the guitar and when the guitars are playing at all kinds of different like rhythms and speeds, then it sounds like the vocal is not flowing with the song properly. So you want to be careful with that. And the vocal sounds a little bit off time as well. So during that section, it just sounds very off. It doesn't sound clean, unfortunately. You want to make sure those vocals are warped correctly. If you're having trouble warping the whole thing, split them up into like 16 or 8 bar sections and warp those small sections to make it easy for you. Otherwise, this is good. Keep working on this. I'm really liking the way you're going, adding your melodic and dubstep Heaviness, dude. This is what I'm talking about. Keep getting it. That's low. Loading in. We'll try off it. Up next, we got Hyper Invasion with Obstreperous 3. Bro, dude, I wish I could use English.
Spoken in a while and things have been weird.
We're the low.
I dream about things way beyond this atmosphere. Once you let them in, fear will literally kill you from the inside.
Obstreperous by Hyper Invasion. Done. So, this song, as you see here, I chopped it up into many different pieces because these are my notes of what we need to go over. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that are not sounding the best here. So, the main and most important thing that I need you to understand is the energy levels are not high and it doesn't feel like a dance song because there's not call and response happening during the drop. When the buildup happens, there should be a pre-drop. The reason we do a pre-drop is because we go super loud to like quiet and then back to loud. That's called dynamics. It's really important in EDM that you do that in some way, shape, or form so that you can lead up to your drop. When you get to the drop, we want to do call and response. So there should be something on the downbeat, like a sound. You got one sound that goes on the downbeat, bom, bom. And then after that sound, you have the response, which is usually a different sound, and that would follow. And the whole point of this is so we're going back and forth between two sounds. That's called call and response. You really want to make sure that you're doing that throughout the drop so that you keep the listeners engaged. We're so used to listening to very well composed songs with drops nowadays that use these psychedelic techniques so efficiently that when we don't hear it, it sounds different. And you want to make sure that you work on that. The length of this as well is too short. You kind of want this to be twice the amount in length. Then you can lead up to that. In these sections, you want to also look at the mud frequencies from 100 to 400 hertz. That's where the mud builds up. If you have a lot of basses playing at the same time, you should expect a lot of mud to be building up. So you need to start cleaning up that mud. You want to clean it. Use your EQ. This section right here is probably the only section that sounds decent in this song. That's why it's labeled spicy and in red. We have good flow. We have use of dynamics here. You can see going loud to soft. It sounds fairly well mixed. You know, we're getting closer to what we want. There's not a balance between the mid basses, so you'd want to balance those out with EQ. And you really want to make sure that your sub is separated and the sub is fat and loud, because we cannot hear or feel the sub throughout this whole song, which is a huge problem. Bass music needs that sub. We need to feel it in our chest. So definitely fix your sub before anything and make sure it's a clean sine wave. Then you can layer like distorted layers on top of it if you want. Also check for the width. You know, this is a mono party. It's all mono. You want to make sure that you have mono and stereo signals. That's why I use the ozone imager here, that we can see how wide it is. All middle. We need to go wide and middle. So you want to fix that with parallel processing. I made a video about that. And last but not least, we got the mega long sussy of sus tactics, sussy time. There's a sustain playing in the background that plays the whole time, and it's just way too long. You want to chop it up, and you want, remember, call and response. You want to go back and forth between your basses, and please add a sub in the section for heaven's sake. Otherwise, dude, if you fix all those things, you will be that much closer to a super banger. That's Hyper Invasion. Good job. Next, we have Gravibus Stomp. I think that's how you say it. Oh, this is by Bree, the Mosh Queen. Let's get it. Gravibus Stomp. I think that's how you say it. Let's get it. Let's go. For the one time. some gangster shit, right? Yo, what? That was sick. Grab a bus stomp by the Mosh Queen. Let's go. That was decent, I must say. The sub sounds a lot louder and everything. Maybe turn the sub down just a little bit. You can see when we zoom out, it looks pretty bricked. You want to make sure you're not using too much compression and the sub is not overpowering everything. In the first drop, the sustain definitely needs to be a bit louder. You can make that balanced with the other bass. That other main bass is pretty loud. You can match that sustained loudness with that bass. That'll be really good. Also, the sub is playing constantly at the same time. Make small little mutes or spaces in between the sub so that we can feel some dynamics with the sub throughout the drop. That'll help a lot because the sub is playing throughout the whole drop. But you have some nice fills and you also have some nice flow. Like in this section, for example. You're definitely testing out new rhythms and new flows, which is sick. Just make sure that all your basses are the same loudness levels and make sure that when they're talking to each other, one doesn't sound quiet and then the other one sounds loud. But you are doing well with the call and response and having them talk to each other. It's really interesting to see how your brain is putting these rhythms together because once you get to the festival, you'll be making people's minds go crazy. In the second drop, the guns need to be louder. So this time, the main guns sound like they're filtered in. You can't really sound them, no highs or anything. Sustain's really loud this time, but the guns are unfortunately lost and gone, and we need those back. I think that after you fix those things and also add some more to the intro, the song will sound full and complete. You need to add some melodies and melodics, add some chords, simple chord progressions, or simple, you can get a splice loop, you know, just a simple splice loop, a melodic loop that's in your key, and then add a nice vocal or even a vocal loop or a vocal phrase, lots of reverb, mess with all those different things and start filling out these sections. These are really nice and cinematic. They just need to be filled out because you can tell there's a lot of empty space there. Otherwise, good job. That's what I like to see. Wideness levels and loudness levels were good. So, beautiful. Up next, we got Axis. Renage, Ideation, Axis. Let's get it. Okay. That was Axis, Renage, Ideation. To be honest, it's kind of hard to listen to for multiple reasons. First, the intro is beyond too long. It basically sounds like some ambient song at the beginning. And I really like the vocals that you have in it. It adds a sick atmosphere, sick, like horror vibe. And I really enjoyed that. But it takes way too long to get to the actual climax of the song, right? The drop. There's not really a build to the drop either. So there's not a transition to the drop. Instead, you just start playing the sounds and there's not any call and response happening. It does sound very muddy and there isn't really any flow with any of the basses. On top of that, the rhythm is misconstrued in the drop. So it goes kick, snare, and then your other snare is like delayed. So there's not a rhythm to dance to. This is something that we can just listen to, which doesn't make it electronic dance music. It just simply makes it electronic music, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's just ambient sounds and stuff. But if you want to, get to the festivals and make people dance and like DJ, then you'll have to make your song in a way that has people dancing on the dance floor. If you just want to make electronic music, then this is fine. You just really need to work on the length of your intros. And you also need to work on mixing in your drop. So the mud frequencies are from 100 to 400. Make sure that you use your EQ and start cleaning up in those areas. And then use call and response. So you want to have one sound go and then another sound after it. You want to go back and forth with that. That's what house music does. That's what EDM does. So you want to make sure that you do that as well. It'll help significantly. Up next, we got Smileys. This is JSYX and Smiley's rough draft version 2. Let's go. All right. That was a Smileys and a J6 rough draft version 2. Now I must say, I like this idea. You guys definitely have your song arrangement, sound design on point. But the thing is that the mixing in the drop needs some work. And what I mean is that you have a sick screamo metal vocal that's like playing during the drop. But unfortunately, that sound, that vocal is a lot louder than like the main machine gun lead, the main basses, when really they should be both really loud and balanced together. But instead that vocal is overpowering in the mix. So you really want to fix that right away, just so that we can have that full energy during the drop. We don't want just that vocal to be the main star. We want those guns to be in there also, because those are fresh guns. Now, I want you to also keep in mind of dynamics. So in this section, you are going, this is the only section, by the way, where you're going from like high frequency, super dope, and then going to like a more mid heavy, less high frequency bass. And you're going back and forth between that. So that whole concept of like high frequency, then like lows, highs, lows, that's what you want to do throughout your drop at the beginning of the drop too. Because with the vocal and those basses, it's just lots of just high frequencies going at you. You want to use dynamics really well, and you want to keep that in mind. Just spray them with the high frequencies, then move on to like a mid-heavy thing, and then go back and forth, and that'll make it sound a lot heavier, a lot more energy. Otherwise, man, this is good. It's dope. You guys have a good idea on your hands. Run it. Up next, we got Ignite by Snaster. Let's go. Ooh.
That was nasty.
The mailbox is full. I cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
That was nasty.
That was nasty.
That was nasty.
The mailbox is full. I cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
That was nasty.
That was nasty. That's Ignite by Snasta. Great submission. Solid work. This is some, heavy, dirty, nasty rhythm. And I must say, it is almost close to completion because this is making me dance, got good energy, has nice vocals. This is sick. The only thing I think is, bad with it is like the mud. Right? It's very crunchy. It's too crunchy. There's a lot of mud. We really need to be careful when we're making these super sick basses because they get really crowded. And they get really crowded, so you want to make sure that you're EQing everything, cleaning up the muds, make dips from 100 to 400, and just start clearing up some space. Because right now it sounds very crowded. It sounds nice and loud, but the bass is a bit too crunchy. I do like its characteristics though. At the beginning of the drop too, you can use some sustains, later on in the phrase and start adding some high frequencies. This is really mid-heavy, crunchy bass. And when you start to add some of that metallic rhythm high frequencies in the second phrase, it sounds really sick. So you kind of want to incorporate that during the beginning of the drop as well. Just the whole concept of the high frequencies playing with your crunchy mid bass. Other than that, there's not much that needs to be fixed here. Just a couple mixing things, a couple of sustaining things, and I think you'll be good to go. That's dope. Good job. Snasta coming in with the heat. Up next, we got Blue Raz Ice. Sounds like a vape. And this is from Carpi Mori. Let's go. Let's get it. Boom, 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 boom. That's Blue Raz Ice by Carpi Mori. Not too shabby. There are some things here that we need to go over. So you have a decent idea here. It is too empty here. I think you should add some vocals at the beginning so that we can have some more energy that leads up to the build-up. This build-up is very empty as well. There's not much going on. You really want to start layering and start adding more. There's lots of layers going on in the drop, right? And in the drop, there's almost too much layers going on. When we get to these sections, that section not so much, but these sections, there's a lot of basses playing at the same time, and you really want to be careful. Remember, less is more. Be careful with how many basses you layer on top of each other. If they're all playing different rhythms, then it could sound like so many things are happening at the same time. You really want the listener to be listening to one rhythm and have other rhythms supporting that, not multiple rhythms playing at the same time. You got to be careful with that. In the first drop, this is a case of the use of almost too much dynamics. So because there's not much going on with the sound design, there's very simple layers. This is better. Less is more happened in this drop. But there's too much silence going on. So definitely have this bass lead play, do what you want, and then slowly add silence throughout. As soon as a drop happens, we go into these dynamic switches, and it just seems too soon. So you want to be careful. Go by like 8, 16 bars, and then split those up into 4 bars, and use those timings. You'll be able to get your timing better if you start using reference tracks too. You can just throw in one of your favorite songs, look at how they arrange their basses and how they go from phrase A to phrase B, and look at the timing, put it on the grid, and it's going to help you a lot so that you can organize everything that's happening in the drop. Because right now it just sounds like everything's all over the place. Not really a solid call and response or rhythm. So get those right, and it's going to sound off the chain. All right, so next we have Sabretooth with December 10th, work in progress. Let's get it.
Turn this shit up.
Oh yeah, Saber. Oh, let's go. Okay, sick. Saber, gosh, dude, just first off, I've listened to a lot of your music from the get-go. You are the one who literally suggested we do these live streams. So everyone thanks Saber for these live streams. But I must say, the improvement that you have had from your first song to this song is just insane. The way you're controlling your frequencies and controlling the rhythms and your basses is very impressive. It feels like you're starting to get full control over everything. And sooner or later, you're just going to be able to imagine anything in your brain and just write it down on your computer. Which, everyone, that is the most powerful tool and skill that you can have. That's how you can make the things you love. And I've been teaching like the length of drops and stuff, like 32 bars, 16 bars and stuff. And technically, you don't have to make it 16 to 32 bars. You can just keep going if the call and response is dope. And this is what it kind of reminds me of. You know, we just keep dancing. And this 32 bars sounds like 64 bars. You know, you just get lost in time. And I think that's really important when you're doing good call and response and using dynamics well. You can see here going loud to quiet. Then you get lost in the song. You know, you don't want to think too much. You just want to have the song take you on a journey. It's really important that that happens. And when you're in full control of your frequencies, that'll be good. In some of the sections though, like one of these sections, it feels like you're starting to build it up and then you like move on. So I would make sure that the transitions between phrases are like this part. This part right here is really the only section I'm talking about. Like sounds like we're going to like an interlude, but then we're going to a build up. It's just like confusing. So really, things like that would be the only thing I fix. Otherwise, your phrases are transitioning very well. And it's not really a vocal or anything. I really like the Asian vibes with that sick sound. I don't know what instrument that is. But if there was like, you don't have to have like an acapella playing or anything. I just mean like a vocal shot or chopping up a vocal phrase just so that we can add the voice as an instrument with the other sounds. Not so much have our voice saying something, but singing is an instrument. So just add notes and start using reverb and delay to, fill out these sections, and it'll be sick, bro. Good job, Saber. You're a boss, OG, play a gangsta, and I appreciate you. Up next, we got Wags with trap, work in progress with vocal. This is not the one without vocal. This is the one with vocal. Let's get it for the one time.
The same anymore. So who are you again? You will always keep his score. So did you win?
There's that vocal.
We done fought this fight 1,000 times before, and I'm just so tired of thinking to close the door. We won't get out, we won't blow up, fighting for this thing called love. Hit the ground, give it up, don't know what you're thinking.
Okay.
From the surface, oh, they go so much deeper. Still, you think it's enough. We won't get down, we won't blow up, fighting for this thing called love. We hit the ground, we give it up, don't know what you're thinking.
Jesus, man, that was crazy. Good job. Back. I was not expecting that. Super cinematic. Epic. Beautiful. There's very little that I need to go over because, dude, your layering is actually on point, man. The way you layer your saws with your mids and your sub, you have that, down. I'm really happy to hear that. The only thing I think it was a major problem is the call and response during the drop. God, you lead up so well to the drop, right? The intro to the build up, the vocal building up, the melody building up with the song. Everything's just working really well. We have a nice section for the pre-drop, but as soon as the drop hits, the energy isn't as high as it could be. And I think the reason is because the sub starts right away. So if it was more like a kick, and you kind of like bring it in. So instead of the sub playing right here, the sub would like start. It'd probably start like on the 3 or on the next downbeat after that. But when the pre-drop goes and you go straight into this drop, it doesn't sound like there is much of a difference. We really want there to be like a dynamic difference. You want it to go from quiet to loud. And the way it's going is just basically loud the whole time. So we want to work on that, get the call and response on point with the first downbeat and then the second downbeat in the middle of the drop too. And then lastly, just the vox here.
You're not the same anymore.
That is very, it's like not prominent. There's a respace playing that's a lot louder than that vox. So you just want to make that vox louder so that's balanced with the rest of the mix. Or you can layer in some high, like a higher octave version of this vox. And that would be sick. Otherwise, man, this is cool. Lots of vibes, lots of feels in this one. Happy to hear it. Good job, dude. Up next, we got Arlix with Energy. Let's go. Okay. That's Arlix with Energy. Not too bad, man. Not too bad. This has a lot of potential. I really like some of these sections like this. Like the guns are sick. The call and response is dope. Arrangement and flow is on point. I'm really liking this. The only thing really that I had an issue with during the drop is the loudness level of the main bass. It's super, super loud and it's kind of overtaking everything else in the mix. Lots of ear piercing frequencies. I really think that you should get a Fletcher Munson curve preset, like for the EQ8 or even the Pro Q3. And that will help bring down all those ear piercing frequencies so that it's a lot easier on the ear. Because right now it's very hard to turn my interface up and enjoy this like I should and dance as hard as I want to because it's hard in the ears. We are producing music that is getting to the limits of sound, so we got to be careful with how we're managing these frequencies. Otherwise, the flow's sick. I think that in this song specifically, we do need a vocal, but this time an a cappella vocal, a vocal that is actually singing or rapping or doing something to a rhythm. Because we have this beat. The reason we want to do this is so that we can add faster energy. Unfortunately, the intro, this breakdown, and the outro are very slow. They sound cool. I like it, but if the drop is in full time at 140, but our intro and outro are basically in halftime, which is 70 beats per minute, the difference in tempo switches is very weird. And especially here, after the main drop, we just go straight to a 70 BPM breakdown without any transition. It sounds very awkward. It basically sounds like it's two different songs and you're just throwing it in. And you have to be careful when you do that. You need to make sure they transition between each phrase. If you were to add a melodic sound or maybe some fast drums to make it seem like you want to bob your head twice as fast instead of halftime, that would make all the difference. So work on that, everyone, with all your songs. Make sure you're paying attention and not accidentally producing in halftime. You should only use halftime for creative purposes in certain sections to make it sound dope. Otherwise, the intro and the breakdown and the outro need more energy to match the high energy drop. Otherwise, that's it. Decent song, man. After those things are done, it's going to be off the chain. Good job. Nice submission. Up next, we got Flood Basalt by Dark Mage. Let's get it. That is Dark Mage with Flood Basalt. Hey, that's dirty. That's dirty, dirty. I must say the mix a lot better than the last song you submitted. This is overall good, decent mix. Nice, cool, dark energy. Unfortunately, though, this song to me is a little bit too slow. You know, if I was about to like go and play at a club and start DJing, this is something that would just be too slow for me to DJ. You know, people are dancing, but they're dancing like slow. Maybe this is a song you'd play at like 4 a.m. at some trippy festival out in the woods. You know, this would be perfect with that. But, you know, overall, I think it's really good. It's loud enough, wide enough, and the use of call and response is definitely there. You guys can also see visually, we have use of dynamics going from loudness to quiet. You can see throughout the track, which is really good. I think this is something you should finish and something you should add vocals to as well. These sections are like screaming for like vocals, something dark and eerie, resample some horror stuff. I don't know. Match the energy here, and this song would then sound like a full, complete piece of art. And then, of course, make it like 3-4 minutes to be good to go. What is this, like 120, 130? I don't know, but this is cool. Maybe try different tempos, try different versions, see what you can get, or maybe make a VIP of it too. That's like 150 BPM or something, because that would be awesome. Otherwise, Dark Mage, good job. Up next, we got Save That by DJ E. Not finished. I need an outro. That's okay. You don't need an outro over here, boy. Let's get it. Save all that. Saving better about the dream alone. Whoa. Damn, that's fire. Really good use of melody and harmony in this. I just love how you are just like moving between like high frequencies, low frequencies, and like really taking us on a journey and using movement very well. With risers too, like you suck into different sections and then suck out. It's really interesting. Also, the drop has like color bass and hybrid melodic fills. It's just really cool, man. This is the future of melodic music, this type of new stuff. The supersaws at the beginning here are very mono, I think. You should make these a little bit wider. The supersaws definitely need to be wide and mono at the same time. That would make them sound fuller and more complete. And then when you add that complete signal to the drop, it would make a big difference as well. Otherwise, there's not too much to say because this made me feel good. This made me dance, has good energy. And the only thing I really think it could benefit from is, you know, controlling your stereo image, making sure you have a lot of wide sounds, a lot of mono sounds, blend them together so we can have a full stereo image. And then from there, you can get creative and start removing what you want and start adding dynamics that way. Otherwise, good job, man. Good job. Up next, we have WIPs from 1208.wave. Just made these last night by Bruinface. Let's get it.
Please say something.
Ooh. Ooh. Damn. This boy just got in, put in with the two whips. Really? 2 whips? 2-in-1? The 2-in-1 special? He got it through, I must say. But I'm happy to hear because the second section is sick. So the first section needs more sub, right? The sub is like low volume and it's kind of going all over the place. So it doesn't sound as hard as it should. It would benefit by like a quarter note fat sub just going hard. That's kind of what's happening in the second drop. And you're using good use of dynamics. You take the sub out in some section, bring it back, and it's like going back and forth. Super cool sound design. Unique. It flows. I like it. And if you look here, we're not wide enough and we're not loud enough. So really you want to just make sure you use compression well, start getting around like -6 lefts and start making sure that you have information on your wide, left and right, and in the middle, the mono. Then after that, I think these will be ready to go, ready for the club and ready for the festival. Next, we have Lotto and Knock. What is you banging? Right here. Lotto and Knock. What is you banging? I'm going to check real quick if this is on Spotify, and it's not. So we are good to go. Let's get it.
What is you banging, little nigga? I let off shots, I ain't grazing a nigga. Off to my blunt, I be blazing these niggas. Running it up, you ain't phasing me, nigga. Hey, what is you banging, little nigga? I let off shots, I ain't grazing a nigga. Off to my blunt, I be blazing these niggas. Running it up, you ain't phasing me, nigga. Hey, will you be talking, you niggas on? Cause the niggas off to my blunt, I'ma get banging.
Yeah, no. This is not the music we have here. This is not a self-promo channel. I don't know what this is, man. We ain't playing it. I'm not in Miami anymore. I do the EDMs now.
And we go a little something like this. Hit it!
We got Greywood with Old School.
Rockin' old school shit, rockin' old school shit. Yeah, son. Rockin' old school shit. Yeah. Rockin' old school shit, rockin' old school shit.
Ding, ding, ding.
Going crazy. We'll be right back after these fucking messages.
And that is Greywood with Old School 111122. Now this is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool idea, but unfortunately it's just very low in volume. If you look here, we're at negative 15 LUFS, which is very, very quiet. And then if we see here, everything's just in the mono. It's all in the middle. So it just doesn't sound like it's full. It sounds very contained. So you want to make sure that you do parallel processing. Make sure that you have signals in the middle and on the sides. And for this type of like song, this is like some old school rhythm, just like chilling. It almost sounds like a beat, but you can feel some wubs and you can feel that type of like old school vibe to it. So I would be looking around like -8 to negative like 7 LUFS. And I think that would be a perfect area for you for this song. After you do that, it will sound significantly different. I think you have cool sounds in here. And of course, there's a lot of use of dynamics. So you want to just move forward with that by using compression, saturation, get things louder, and make things clean. Up next, we got Repent, I'm a God. Let's get it. Ooh. Bum, bum, bum. That was Repent. I'm a God. Good job. That wasn't too shabby. There are some problems with the mix, and I do think that bass lead, that main bass lead that you're playing, is being played way too much. You really want to go back and forth with that main bass lead and then add a new one and kind of have two of them playing so that our ears and the listener doesn't get too bored with that main bass lead. This one sounds like it's using the reverb filter. It sounds very scratchy, you know? It sounds very loud, but if you look at the lefts, we're not really loud. It's only like -10. So that's telling me that that bass lead is just far too loud. It needs to be contained with some EQ because we will need to bring the song up. And when you bring the song up louder, that main bass lead will be a lot more screechier, a lot harsher on the ears. You got to be careful with that. You want to get this song to like -8, -7, or even -6 lefts. So you do have a ways to go with loudness, and you will need to compensate for that main bass lead. After you control with EQ, you can use Fletcher-Munson curve to kind of remove the ear-piercing frequencies, and then you'll be on your way to like a full track. I think this has some good bones. Just need to work on it a little bit more, and definitely add some more variation in the second drop as well, so that it sounds different from the first drop. Otherwise, good job. Repent, I'm a God. Not too shabby. Up next, we have Fender. And this is by Jackson. Jackson Snippets. Let's get it.
I can see the sky now.
2049.
Sunshine on my face. I can feel the wind change. I can see the ghost of yesterday. Going another way. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. I can see the sky now. I can feel the sunshine on my face. I can feel the wind change. I can see the ghost of yesterday. Going another way. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. I can see the sky now. I can feel the sunshine on my face. I can feel the wind change. I can see the ghost of yesterday. Going another way. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. I can see the sky now. I can feel the sunshine on my face. I can feel the wind change. I can see the ghost of yesterday. Sunshine on my face. I can feel the wind change. I can see the ghost of yesterday. Going another way. Oh, oh, oh.
yeah.
Nobody will love me the way that I love myself. Nobody will care as much as I care.
Oof. What a great outro. What a great way to close this live stream. Jackson snippets coming in hot. Jackson, first off, let me say the vibes are immaculate. Sick house vibes. I feel like I'm at like a party at like one of those sick ass expensive clothing shops in the mall. Like Scottsdale Mall, we just the vocals. I know you're saying the vocals repeat a lot, but this is my first listen, and it does not sound like the vocals are repeating too much. Everything sounds balanced and they sound clean. If you were to like repeat a phrase over and over again, then it could start to sound like repetitive, but nothing sounds repetitive in here, so I don't think you need to worry about that. You probably have just listened to the song over and over and over again, so it sounds crazy, but no need to worry about that. One of the main things that I think needs to be fixed though is the clap. The clap feels very thin and it's kind of lost in the mix. Really, that clap should have some mono beef in it as well as some wide signal. It really just sounds like it's all wide. We can't really feel or hear the clap. Remember, that clap is what brings the rhythm to the song, the 2 and the 4, you know? So you got to make sure that that's pumping good. Otherwise, man, I like this idea. I really like the vibes in this section. If epic fills, and I think it's just really cool. That bass in the back is really taking you on the journey the whole time. So I think this is good. There's not much to say. The loudness levels are good. It seems like everything.
I can see the sky.
In the drop, it's wide enough. We don't have to be super, super wide for this type of house music. So I think we're looking good, man. Good vibes. Definitely different from what I usually hear from you. That's what I like to see. Thank you guys so much for submitting. Thank you for joining. This is the 17th live stream feedback. We'll see how many more we do of these. But if you want help, hit us up in the Discord. We are here for you. Join the community and we'll get down. Keep making bangers, guys. Stay fresh all day. Peace out. Later.